Shalom. All praises to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem Rakakodash. The double honors to the elder apostles, the bishops, and the elders of GMS who rule well. Peace and salutations select. My name is Ainar. The title of this video is Attacks on Ruling Elites. Right. And in this video I'm about to play, the guy is basically, explaining how people are starting to, attack their rulers, their leaders, right? And the scriptures talk about this. All right. And, we're just filtering the things that we see and witness here in these last days through prophecy, right, through the scriptures, so you can be, edified, comforted, knowing exactly what's happening around you in the times that you're living in, because we're living in evil times. All right. And this evil is only going to continue to grow. This is Isaiah 33:6. It says, "In wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and strength of salvation." Right? The fear of the Lord Yahweh Bashim Shah is his treasure, right? We all should be seeking that salvation, right? To be beamed up in those chariots, right? On the return of our Lord Yahweh, right? But you need to know, who you are. You need to know what's going on. You need to know the Lord, right? You need to know the scriptures, right? That way you can be connected to the Father, right? That way he can say he knows you, right? Because you know him, all right? So we're witnessing the effects and signs of the end. This is our second Ezra 9. It says second Ezra chapter 9, verse 1. It says, "He answered me then and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself. And when thou seest part of the signs past, which I've told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made." Right. So we're watching the things happen around the world and filtering them through the scriptures to understand, how close we are to the return of our Lord Yahushua. Right. So people uproars of the people and people coming against their rulers is a part of the scriptures. Right. This is not something that has happened on scale that's happening now. Like imagine the No King events. Right. Even that is uproars of the people and sedition. They're saying we don't want Donald Trump to be in office. No kings. We don't like what this guy is doing. Things like that. Right. It says verse 3. "Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning." Right. Yeah. Declaring the end from the beginning. Right. Let me see if I can find that real quick. I believe it's Isaiah or Jeremiah. Let me see. Isaiah 48. All right, let me see Jeremiah. Isaiah 48:6 says, "Thou hast heard, see all this, and will you not declare it? I have showed thee new things from this time, even hidden things that thou didst not know them, and thou didst know them. They are created now and not from the beginning, even before the day when thou heardest them not." Okay, this is not what I want. Let me get Jeremiah. I want to say it's Isaiah 46:8 or Isaiah 48:6. Let me see. I believe it's the other way around. Yeah, okay, so Isaiah 46, I started 8. It says, "Remember this and show yourselves men, bring it into mind, O ye transgressors. Remember the former things of old, for I am Yahweh Bashim and there is none else. I am Yahweh Bashim and there is none like, declaring the end from the beginning, and from ancient times the things that are not yet done, saying, Counsel shall stand, and I will do all my pleasure." Right? The Most High Yahweh Bashim has called these things through the mouth of his prophets, right, from the beginning, right? Even the word itself, right? The scripture has always been here because the scriptures is the spirit of Yahweh Shai, right? And the word was made flesh, all right? So, second Ezra chapter 9, verse 4, "Then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were for thee, even from the beginning. Right? For like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and the end is manifest. Right? Even so, the times also of the highest have plain beginnings and wonder and powerful works and endings and effects and signs. Right? So it's a lot happening, a lot going on in here in these last days. I mean, look at Iran. This is like this World War III. All right, and you got Iran doing the Lego videos, diss tracks. It was like, of course, there's war and it's killing and things like that. But I mean, even that alone, that's added effect to the end. You know, people are complaining that the fact that America isn't fighting back with the diss tracks. You know, so these are just effects and signs of the end. Even with the uproar of the people, the overthrowing of the governments, and overthrowing of you know the rulers and whatnot is what this guy's about to go into.
So I don't know if you guys have been noticing this, but there has been a wave of attacks against ruling class elites. And it's been happening. It's been like rapidly increasing by the day. So it's happening, man. Workers are erupting across this country. Warehouses are burning. Billionaires are being targeted. So as JP Hill says here, warehouses burnt down, a Molotov cocktail thrown at Sam Altman's house, a politician's home shot at because they supported a data center. A spree of attacks on the ruling class appears to have begun. Every attacker will now be deemed a terrorist by our government and by the entire ruling class. That's inevitable. But what the ruling class desperately doesn't want you to know is that they made this moment inevitable. Their greed has made so many people so destitute and desperate that people across America resorting to lashing out was bound to happen. What the rich and powerful don't want is for you to look at the underlying causes of these acts. And here's an image of one of the warehouses that was set on fire.
So even with just the first 55 seconds here, so many scriptures, come to mind, but I'll start it off with just this one here. Right, because the scriptures prophesy that this, will happen. All right, this is Second Ezra chapter 15, verse 14. It says, "Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and when people shall stand up and fight against another and swords in their hands." So this is already happening, right? Because the squeeze is here upon the people around the world. All right, and right now the target is the ruling class. Right, because they're the ones making the plan, and supporting their having this war. Because you got some maggers that support what Trump is doing, but then some is like realizing that breaking loose is not going good. So now they're fighting back, and now they're fighting each other. And others is just on the outside looking in, saying the real target is the president and those Zionists and things like that. Right? It says, "For there shall be sedition among men." Right. This is the overthrowing of the government, inciting to overthrow the government and things like that. And this is what they're calling for. Even the No Kings protests, on a small scale, like they're just saying they don't want Donald Trump to rule how he is, but that's basically sedition. It says in invading one another, they shall not regard the king or princes, and the course of their action shall stand in power. The point. They shall not regard the king or princes. They're coming after the ruling class elites, because these are the ones that make the rules, and whatnot, and govern, and they choose the side that they want to be on. As in, are you going to stand with the decrees that we pushing out, or are you not? When it comes to the elites making the laws, the rule, that's why you got like division among, as Matthew 12 goes into, right, where some people are saying, let's go ahead and continue the plan, and some people realizing that it is worse than they thought. Right? That's things like that, stepping down, speaking on what they're trying to do. And one person stepped down regarding the war. It was like, I only could speak about this if I resigned. So he resigned. Was talking about they're talking about using nuclear weapons, and things like that. So reading this again, 2 Ezra chapter 15, verse 16, it says, "For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another, they shall not regard the king or the princess, and the action shall stand in their power." All right. So, that's exactly what's happening, them not regarding the king or princess. Let's continue with this right here.
is for you to look at the underlying causes of these acts. And here's an image of one of the warehouses that was set on fire. And so when people looked at Luigi, and some people were shocked at the reaction of people basically being like kind of sympathetic to Luigi, that was a harbinger of things to come. That was a warning. This is not an isolated incident, and this is not an isolated reaction among a group of deranged individuals. This is like everybody I know has a horror story when it comes to dealing with health insurance companies in this country. Every single person I know. And so, yeah, the reaction was, well, the guy who Luigi killed is a criminal, and he's got the blood of thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people on his hands, because his, United Healthcare was like objectively one of the worst in terms of their rejection rate for claims. And so everybody's reaction was like, well, it's kind of nuanced, right? Because the guy who was killed is a criminal and was directly involved in basically the death of a lot of innocent people. And like, yeah, Luigi, but I mean, it's a dirty business, right? You're involved in a business where you have blood on your hands. So people didn't like feel all that horrible for this guy getting killed by Luigi. And that should have been a wake-up call to everybody. And if for a little bit it was.
And even this dude right here, just this podcast, a lot of these people, which, I don't know when he started, but a lot more people are now, doing the podcast and things like that. And even if, like, say he had that podcast before and he was talking about how to make ramen noodles so good or something like that, but now they're using this to have a voice and push against the government, and this is another scripture where it says every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. Everything that these devils do, they're being exposed, and just the truth is coming out basically from these podcasters and things like that. These are also infecting effects, right? All right. It says Job 20 and 18. It says that which he labored for shall he restore and shall not swallow it down. But something shall be and shall not rejoice therein, because he oppressed forsaking the poor, because he had lied. Truly he shall not quietness in his belly, he shall not savor that which he desired. There shall none of his need be left, therefore shall no man look for his good. And for his sufficiency shall be disgraced, and he shall come upon him. It goes into the word Amel, right? Amel, your labor, your working class individual. Are you the one now rising up saying the things are in the hand? Yeah, so they're saying things are getting out of hand. All right, and they want something to be done about it. So they're just fighting back, basically. So Amel, right, it says laborer, suffer, wretched one, workman, suffer, toiling. So these are your working class individuals. And a lot of them are getting fired, right, and laid off because the new order been set up, which consists of digital system. They're getting replaced by AI. These jobs are like being replaced by AI and things like that. So even the podcasters, making a podcast, and then the people, the toilers, the workers, right, coming up against him, talking about no this, and really, like I said, it's taking their jobs too, right? Not only is it taking their jobs, it's they're complaining about the sound, right? It's environmental hazard, right? It's affecting humans and things like that. So the scriptures say, if he didn't come, no flesh will be saved, basically, right? If he didn't shorten days, no flesh will be saved, as the scriptures say. All right.
In fact, what happened was, in the wake of that, every single health insurance company, like immediately started approving all the different claims like overnight. There was like a long streak of like just approve everything. Why? Because they didn't want to end up like the executive who got killed. They didn't want to end up like that. And so, but that was just the beginning, because this country is just squeezing people more and more and more and more. And now we're at the point where you burn down a warehouse and people said something like, all you have to do is pay us a living wage. And then that was then echoing around online endlessly. There's an example here that I wanted to share with you.
So they're talking about the money, the misuse of riches that these devils, these ruling class elites are keeping back. James 5:1, it says, "Go to now, rich man, weep. Go to now, you rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you. Your rich are corrupted, and your garments are moth-eaten. Your gold and silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you." Yeah, these individuals are trying to get claims for health issues. They're paying these their money to this insurance for their health, making an accident or something like that, and they try to make a claim, and the government, the ruling class elites, is not allowing them to get these the money out. So the money is, they have all the money. People can look up your net worth and things like that, and they're upset about it. It's like asking your friend for a few dollars, and the man got mad money, and you just need $2 because you fucking starving. You know what I mean? James 5:3 says, "Your gold and silver is cankered, and the rest of them shall be a witness against you, and shall eat your flesh as it were fire. You have heaped treasures together for the last days." A lot of people trying to do that. They see what's coming. They don't want to give out too much money. You see, even this Melania chick or whatever. So they said they brought the Epstein list back, but I don't like this, just supporting her book, because she mentioned something about her book and the fact that she wrote some information about her book pertaining to how she met Donald Trump and things like that. So I looked at that, because even now, Donald Trump in the stock market, how they're manipulating the market. People are making money off the things that Donald Trump's saying right now. Like, oh, the war is gonna stop. Then the market goes good, or whatever, and people made money because the other day he said it. Oh yeah, we're gonna bomb the hell, and the market went down, or whatever the case may be. So these people are doing that. Trump is making his money. Melania trying to make some money. These health insurance people don't want to pay out no money to sick people. Mind you, COVID and all of that. They know about don't want to say too much about it, even though they coming out now saying the truth about it now. So that's what they're doing, trying to keep up the money for the last days and turn to a new system. Probably try to transfer, to the digital coin or whatever the case may be. James 5:4 says, "Behold, the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your fields, which is of you kept by fraud, crieth, and the cries of them which have reaped are entered into the ears of the Lord of Sabaoth," right? The Lord of Heaven's armies. All right, you get this in the NLT. NLT says, "For listen, hear the cries of the field workers whom you have cheated their pay. The cries of those who harvest your fields have reached the ears of the Lord of Heaven's armies." All right. And he says, it says, "Look, the wages that you have fraudulently withhold from the laborers who have mowed your fields are crying out against you for vengeance. And the cries of the harvesters have come to the ears of the Lord of Sabaoth." All right, so that's exactly what's happening, right? That's why people are rising up, because they see that they've been getting the short end of the stick, basically, right, this whole time. And now it's kind of finally setting in, because before this, people didn't really care. This evil been happening, right? But they was able to go to McDonald's and buy them a cheeseburger, go home and watch the game with a six-pack. They was good. But now even that little that they had is being elite, just like these ruling elite class members. The West said, "You will own nothing and be happy." It wasn't playing games. Right? They're trying to enter into this new world order where they control everybody and everything. James 5:5 says, "You have lived on earth and been wanton. You have nourished your hearts as in the day of slaughter." Which is too. Look at this wanton. Says to live luxuriously, right? Lead a voluptuous life, give oneself to pleasure. All right, so just good, living great. All right. Says you have condemned and killed the just, and he doth not resist you. Yeah, that's what these devils do. Even with this healthcare situation, they keeping back the funds, killing people. People, even Trump. I think Trump getting rid of like healthcare or something like that. AMP said, "Condemn and have put to death the righteous man. He offers you no resistance." Yeah, and that was before. Now they're doing resistance, but before people complaining about health and things like that. That's why you have the situation with Luigi that killed the little health guy. They was keeping back the money for medical aid.
Take a look. Sam Altman's home targeted in second attack. Early Sunday morning, a car stopped and appears to have fired a gun at the Russian home of OpenAI CEO, according to a newly obtained police report. So it's a workers' revolt. It's an anti-Epstein class revolt. And it's also anti-AI, too, because what they're doing is they're coming out and they're promising like, oh, yeah, the whole point of this is to replace workers. The far-right white nationalist conspiracy is like, the immigrants are coming to replace you. They're coming to steal your jobs. And it's like, no, you idiots. The only thing actually coming to steal your job is AI. And the billionaires are telling you, yes, we're going to make it so your job doesn't exist anymore, and some machine is going to do it. And it's not like we're going to, make sure you can survive in that system. We're just going to throw you to the wolves and say, fuck off and die, right? Let's cut the social safety net. Let's not pay people, from the fruit of the work of the machines that do the work. The fruit of the labor that the machines do. No, they're saying, go fuck yourself and die. And they're open about this. They say these things, and people are like waking up to this and freaking out. Also, when you build the data centers, they're incredibly loud to the point where it drives people fucking crazy. There's all sorts of emissions which get people sick. The Grok data center in I believe it's Memphis has left like a bunch of people very sick as a result from a.
So not only is the data centers making the people sick, once they get sick and they take out a claim on a healthcare person, the healthcare person is keeping the money back. It's a bad system. All right, where's that thing at, bro? Where it says no flesh shall be saved. At Matthew 24 and 22. As a matter of fact, let me get it from 21. It says, for then shall be great tribulation, right, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. These people walking by data centers, going to the fucking Walmart, and is getting radiated, and dying quick, which I'm not, that's not factual. Don't quote, I'm just saying they're getting sick, because of these data centers and things like that. The pollution and all of that. Except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be seen. For the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. They don't even care. Like they're trying to make these data centers to push forward the new world order. Meanwhile, is going to be rolling blackouts. Blackouts because this data center is taking all your energy. You can't even cook your food. It's all hell is breaking loose. It's all bad basically.
Result of the emissions that are coming out of the data center. So like there's all these health issues, there's all these environmental issues, and then there's also the energy problem, which is like, we have a limited amount of energy and we're going to use it building this shit. You're going to have like rolling blackouts at people's homes, but you're going to have the fucking data center soaking up all the energy. It makes you blow through fresh water as well because they need fresh water to cool off the data centers. So look, it's all coming to a head now. It's all coming to a head. And guess what? So this story came out about Sam Altman. Ready for this? I didn't realize how bad it was until I saw the comment section on Instagram. I hope that Molotov is okay. Where can we support their bail fund? Please, nobody throw another Molotov cocktail at Sam Altman's house, which is pictured here. That would be easy to find now since you know which neighborhood it's in. I love how collectively fed up the working class is. Actually, that man and me were having dinner. He was never there. Do it again, I missed. New love language just dropped. Sir, your home is on an active landslide. The people are tired. In other news, I had a bagel for breakfast. Doing God's work. More. A hero was born. No, he was with me all night at the bar. Let him go. Damn, it didn't work? Damn, free him. So that's where he lives. Is the Molotov cocktail okay? This should be a nightly occurrence. One ain't cut it. Arrested for allegedly throwing a Molotov at a dude's house. We have yet to know if the person they arrested did the crime or just took the fall so the common man won't realize you can just throw Molotov at billionaires' mansions. So again, is it just like with Luigi, right? Go look at the reaction on social media. And it's not just a left-wing thing. It is across the board. You got people reacting in this kind of way because they have been squeezed to the high heavens and they feel like there's no hope. There's no way out. We're not going to be able to vote our way out of this. People are now getting violent because they feel like they've exhausted all other options. And
right, and that's what these devils, did regarding their unrighteous decrees, right? Setting up these data centers and things like that, right? Isaiah 10:1, it says, "Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees and that write grievousness which ye have prescribed, to turn aside the needy from judgment, and to take away the right from the poor of my people, that widows may be their prey, and that they may rob the fatherless." So basically, with all these different things that they're pushing forward with their new world order, is cutting off people, from doing certain things and achieving certain goals. People are complaining about uh, the future. Are they going to be able to buy a house or a home? Just different things. People worried about where they're going to get the next meal. What about the jobs? Where's the future? All of this stuff. This whole new world order and all the laws that they are putting in place is basically making people own nothing and wanting them to be happy about it. All right. I want to grab this too, Habakkuk. Right. It says Habakkuk 2:5. Yeah, also because he transgresseth by wine, again, his policy, his laws, right? The unrighteous decrees. He is a proud man. Now to keep it at home, who enlarges his desire as hell and is as death, and cannot be satisfied. But gather unto him all nations and heap unto him all people. You will own nothing to be happy. You'll do what I want you to do, right? And we use this for a grander, scheme, basically like more like nations, right? It's, as it says here, nations, but even for the people, right? Because the laborer, the working class, the wretched one, the toiling people are coming up against this devil too, right? Habakkuk 2:6. Shall not all these take up a parable against him and a taunting proverb against him and say, woe to him that increases that which is not his, how long? And to him that lays himself with thick clay, right? And that thick clay is the debt, right? And like I said, we use this when we go into the fact that these nations, trying to take over Venezuela, Iran, Syria, Afghanistan, things like that. Even now, he's trying to stop China, from using the Strait, mainly China. China's a superpower, but it ain't working. A ship got through there. I'm even hearing reports today, which I'm gonna be looking more into it, watching as the prophets are supposed to do, that even Iran is still sliding through that, through the spirit of Umar. So we'll see. All right.
I agree with Joshua Hill that this was inevitable. It was inevitable. When you actively cut off people's lifelines and their chance to live in a country with universal health care or free college or a living wage, right? Universal child care. When you make sure that they can't have the basics, what you're doing is you're saying your life is worthless, your life is meaningless. And we live in a country where instead of taking care of the basics, they destroy the social safety nets and they give the wealthy massive tax cuts and massive subsidies. And so at some point, we were going to hit a breaking point when we have like Gilded Age level income and wealth inequality, and people are struggling this severely. Now we have another bout of inflation and oil and gas skyrocketing. This was going to happen. It was going to happen. And don't say that we didn't warn you. We warned you every single step of the way. So there is a way to address it, and it requires massive, colossal wealth redistribution. There's no other way out of it.
Yeah, and these people, they're. I watched this one dude. He's like, he says to like the Jakes, right, that be trying to join ICE. He said, brother, you're a chicken, advocating for KFC, basically. So you're promoting KFC when you're the chicken. This guy right here is saying there needs to be some type of wolf. He's calling for the new world order. I don't think he knows that, but this is what they want him to do. All right, and he's already calling for it. This is just the beginning. He's already saying that something needs to happen. This is Isaiah 60:1. It says, arise, shine, for thy light is come, and the glory of the Lord Yahweh shall risen upon thee. For behold, the darkness shall cover the earth, and gross darkness the people. But the Lord Yahweh shall arise upon thee, and his glory shall be seen upon thee. Right. And we're not ignorant of Satan's devices, 2 Corinthians 2:11. Right? That's exactly what he wants. He wants people to ask for what this dude just asked for. But it's going to get way worse, right?
Requires massive, colossal wealth redistribution. There's no other way out of it, right? There's no other way out of it. And this is something that FDR understood. This is something that the robber barons of the previous years understood, is that you're going to have to appease the public to one extent or another.
See, this is what they want. so it can bring about the solution. He's already complaining about the problem. These are the beginning of sorrows. All right, as Matthew 24 says, because famine, death, slaughter, like all of that needs is going to happen, as the scriptures say. The scriptures will be fulfilled, right? The Most High word, don't go out void. It says Matthew 24 and 3. It says, and as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of that coming in the end of the world? Right. So end of the age, end of Esau's rulership. It says, and Yahweh shall answer and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am anointed, and shall deceive many, right? False prophets. The newest one, Nero 47. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. And that's what's happening right now, right? They're fighting, there's famines, there's about to be famines, right? Pestilence and things like that, earthquakes. But it's the beginning, especially here to America. You didn't even feel it yet. You're starting to feel it, It's heating up a little bit, which, it's been heating up, but this is it though. They about to reset this whole thing, and it's gonna take a lot more, basically. As we've been going into for the many years, starting with our elder apostles, right? The elder apostles of GMS, Great Millstone. All right. But even what everything that's happening, which is good, what everything that's happening, these devils are in scrapes. All right. They don't have full control, basically. All right. They do have the solution, though. That's the only thing they got. But what happens between now and that is all hell breaking loose. The Most High is going to work, right? The Most High is going to do what he do, right? This is Job, and Job 18:5. It says, "Yet the light of the wicked shall be put out, and the spark of his fire shall not shine." But the Job 24 says the earth is given into the hand of the wicked, right? And that's why I just read Matthew 24, the beginning of sorrows. It says, "When shall the your coming be?" Right? Tell us, when shall these things be, and what shall be the sign of thy coming in the end of the world, which is the age of the wicked rule. Right? And it says, Job 18:5, "Yeah, the light of the wicked shall be put out, and the spark of his fire shall not shine. The light shall be dark in his tabernacle, and his candle shall be put out with him." Yeah, because it says, "I seen Lucifer fall from heaven," right? In which that goes into light bearer. It's talking about the wicked, because this devil, he's super smart. He's wiser than Daniel. He knows everything because he stole all our shit. Like, he knows the history, right? So he understands things. He have all his scientists working, figuring out, what this element do, what the element do, all of that. He know how to. Even in slavery, we know that he went into the human body, no anesthesia, and figuring shit out, and things like that, right? That's how he knows so much, because who else around the world is doing that? No one's fucking trying to dissect human beings, not caring about their safety, nothing like that. Devil did that, right? That's why he was able to forward himself shit and have all the information, because he got it wickedly, right? He was able to do things other people wouldn't do, right? Now he dissecting animals and torturing things and figuring out how the brain works. And you see the Epstein list, this man, he know how to torture the people to get how the hell do the brain get tortured and releases some type of adrenochrome to go into the blood, and you can drink the blood, unless you're just a wicked ass devil. You get what I'm saying? So that's how this devil was able to do and know and be so wise, because he's wicked, right? The Most High is going to allow us to know this in the kingdom through just knowing it, how to heal and different things like that. But this devil, like I'm stressing, because that's a point, he did it wickedly. He didn't care, fucking drill into your bone marrow, figure it out, and you just feeling all of that. You know what I mean? So he's wicked. Anyway, "Yeah, the light of the wicked shall be put out, and the spark of his fire shall not shine. The light shall be dark in his tabernacle, and his candle shall be put out with him. The steps of his strength shall be straightened. This is a position of difficulty. And the scriptures are faithful and they are true. So this devil is going through it. And what really the prophets are here, right? They're trembling. All right, they're afraid, about us. It said the light shall be dark in his tabernacle and his put out with him. The steps of his strength shall be straightened. So he was grown, right? The scriptures say that he had the power. He had the power to do so, right? Bring out that MOTB, but he's gonna be straightened. It ain't gonna be as easy as he thought it was, right? Revelations 13 and 15, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as will not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Let's see what the word power here is talking about. All right, diddle me, okay? It says to give something, to bestow, to give, grant, supply, furnish, to give over, deliver. To cause to come forth. Grant, to commission. Yeah, because Job 9:24 says the earth is given in the hand of the wicked. So he has the power, right, through the sword to push forth an agenda. All right, but in these last days, he's gonna be straightened because he's losing his power. The scriptures say Esau's the end of the world, right, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followed. Job 18:7 says the steps of his strength shall be straightened, and his own counsel shall cast him down. So he's not gonna make the right decisions going forward, right? It's gonna be all hell, and as you can see, the decisions that he's making now, like he had allies, right? He had power, he had military bases all over the world, right? Now, where's that sword? The sword is dull. They was using America as their force to push forth their agenda, but now America, all the military bases in the Middle East are pretty much destroyed, and Iran telling them to get the hell up out of there. All your allies that you had to help you are no longer trying to help you and be with you. People trying to get around your dollar. So there is no force. There's no sword no more, right? You still have a sword, yeah, but it's dull, and weakened, straightened, basically. It's difficult now. You open the goddamn straight, you bastards! Praise Allah. That's what you can't do what you want to do. You can't force nothing no more. You know what I mean? It says, "For he is cast into a net by his own feet, and he walked upon a snare." So that's the type of situation that these devil was in. So I want to grab this one last precept. Well, let me see if you got something.
Right. If you don't give them some percentage of what you have and their lives better, then they're going to come for all of it. And
Yeah, so like I said, he's promoting New World Order rather than knowing it. Right? People's like, yeah, we need a reset. We need something. This is Isaiah 47:12. It says, "Stand now with thine enchantments, and with the multitude of thy sorceries wherein thou hast labored from thy youth. If so profit, if so be thou mayest prevail. Thou art weary in the multitude of thy counsels, that now the astrologers, the stargazers, the monthly prognosticators stand up and save thee from these things that shall come upon thee. Behold, because his counsel has cast him down, he's going to be destroyed. America is going to be destroyed, and Israel is going to be destroyed. Right? Israel, they talking about they want greater Israel because I guess if you control that area right there where all the resources at, you have a better control of the world. So with them trying to achieve ultimate control, they're losing everything. Right? It's just not working. It's falling apart. They already got the chip, mind you. The chip is ready to go. They're just trying to gather the resources onto themselves, keep all the people onto themselves, things like that, so they can have total control. But it's falling apart. As we speak right now, it's falling apart. That man was talking about greater Israel. I said he'll never see it. Then I started saying lesser Israel, because you're not gaining land, you're losing land because they're destroying your buildings. So now you need to rebuild the buildings that you already lost before you can try to conquer some other lands to build more buildings. You know what I mean? So they're through, right? They're allies. You have no more allies. It's all falling apart. They're gonna move with great rap because they know they have a short time, and they just gonna come with the chip and hope for the best. And like I said, I'm feeling like things they gonna do something to shut the world down, and behind the scenes, these things still gonna be happening. That's where faith kicks in, right? We're not gonna be prophesying anymore, or even able to know what's going on because we won't be able to see nothing no more. We're just gonna be let every man work out his own salvation with fear and trembling. We're just gonna be here in the dark, hoping that the Most High Yahweh Bashar Shai, which He will, help us. He give us the food and everything He said He's gonna do. Because the lights and the power and Esau is coming after us and things like that, right? So, and I speak as a man, I feel that's how it's going to go, and then ultimately, however maybe the chip come out and, we'll just we'll have to see. Revelation 12 and 12, this, therefore rejoice ye heavens and ye that dwell in them, woe to the heavens of the earth and the sea, for ye having great wrath, because ye know they have a short time. So as things unfold with this war, it's going to leads to America being obliterated along with Israel by nuclear weapons. And, we're going to see these know that they have but a short time and it can try to issue forth this system. Because remember, banking elites that's doing it ain't Donald Trump himself. It's the banking elite. And they don't even live in America. All right. They control the banks around the whole world. That's why you see the whole world going digital. They don't. It's not like they saying you're trying to save America. So all the time, why the hell is America that? All right, so this cut off. I don't know exactly where it cut off. If I say anything important, I'll make a part two. Um. So yeah, Lord willing, ratify Shalom to the hopeful elect, which consists of men, women, and children. Shalom.